Welcome into another episode of the Benchwarmers. If you're watching the video version, you might notice something a little different. I'm in my adult clothes. We're out here in the main studio today. That's because we had some technical difficulties with this episode. Daniel and I did sit down for about an hour talking all things sports, a wild weekend of sports, but some technical difficulties, that's all been lost in the ether somewhere. It may be for the better. I can't even remember what we talked about at this point. But with that being said, we thought our interview this week was just too good to hold on to for another week. So we'll play that interview for you. That will be what this episode consists of, and we'll be right back at it next week. Although Daniel will be on vacation, I'll have a special guest host with us for that episode, so you'll have that to look forward to. With that being said, our interview is with Benton head coach Stephen Dennis. Let's get to that now, and we'll see you next week on the Benchwarmers. We now welcome in a very special guest here to the Benchwarmers, another high school head coach, a familiar face in a new home. It's Benton head coach Stephen Dennis. Coach, it still feels weird for me to say that.
Yes, sir. It's taken me some getting used to. Huntington High School and Raspberry Lane and Caddo Parish will always hold a very, very special place in my heart. That community, the parish did nothing but open its arms for the last 8 years, and incredibly proud of what we were able to accomplish there. But, this was just an opportunity for me to be a little bit closer to home and be a little bit more involved with my own kids, my personal children, and the work in the parish that they go to school in. And so as tough as it just was the right timing and the right opportunity. And I'm thankful for it.
Yeah, for sure, and we're always thankful to talk to you, regardless of what shirt you're wearing, Coach. And you've been going through spring practice right now. You got the spring game coming up. Well, I guess when this interview airs, it will have already happened. But right. Taking on Loyola. But what have you learned about this Benton roster, and what maybe they've learned about you?
It's been that's really been the course there since January. Is us all getting to know each other. Kids are kids. I could rave about the kids at Huntington, and I'm going to sit here and rave about the kids at Benton. They're so awesome, man. Like, the way that they've come in and work has been so just inspiring. It's from day one, we've given them the expectation. And every time, you give that expectation, and then your job as a coach is you try to raise it, And every time we've tried to raise the expectation, they haven't flinched. And so that's really, really exciting. Just like every other coach in high school, you're 6 or 7 days into spring for us, 6, 7, 8 practices in. Today will be practice 8, I believe. There's things that I'm really excited about, and then there's things that we got to clean up. And so, but that's what spring football's for. And so I'm really excited to have a really highly competitive scrimmage against Loyola, against somebody in an opposite colored jersey. And we can get a really good progress report.
Coach, on the job now for a couple months, what was the biggest adjustment for you from leaving Huntington into Benton that maybe caught you off guard in something that you weren't expecting?
I think maybe, just getting to know new surroundings and also understanding that, in a new parish, I honestly had never left a job mid-year and started another job. So that was an adjustment, just having to fill out all the paperwork and all that stuff. But no, just Huntington had become home. I was there for 8 years. I mean, my son was 4 years old, when my oldest son was 4 years old, and my middle child was 2. They're 13 and 11 now.
Wow.
And so, just adjusting to somewhere different than that, probably with the biggest adjustment. But this community out here at Benton, the staff at Benton, the admin at Benton, I cannot say enough how welcoming they have been. Almost to the point where I'm like, hey, can I put some of this love into a savings account, when maybe we lose a game and, everybody's upset at me, I can go, hey, I need to make a withdrawal, from this happy account over here and use it, later. So no, it's been just very thankful for the opportunity. Great leadership over here from our principal, Whitney Clark, and just excited to, be a Benton Tiger.
Well, Coach, I'm sure you have several wins coming your way, so you'll have some savings stocked
Yeah,
up
we
in
can
that
build it
regard.
up. Yeah.
But
We're going to put positivity out, right? I like that. I think
100%.
I think that's a good game plan.
yeah, so just briefly taking us back to Raspberry Lane on how much that place was important to you. You mentioned how your sons, how much they've grown up since then, from when you first started to where you are now. How difficult was that conversation to have with the admin, the staff, and more importantly, the players about that? Your time spent there was very impactful, but a new opportunity has come up with the Benton Tigers.
Look, man, it's not football season yet, so y'all can't get me getting all emotional in May. Nah, it was very difficult. Probably the hardest part of it was talking to the kids at Huntington. But along the way, God gives you little bits and pieces that you're making the right decision. And I got to brag on my current principal and the principal at Huntington. But when Miss Clark called to offer me the job, she said, "Coach, I'm going to hold the media release until you get a chance to talk to Huntington." And just the fact that she had already thought to do that, I didn't have to ask, "Hey, can you hold it until I can get in front of the kids?" It was very important to me that I got to tell them, and it wasn't a news story released. And so, I got to get in front of them, or the ones that were at school that day. And as tough as that was, they got to hear it from me. And I knew that if I had a leader at Benton like Miss Clark that was that intentional to think about that I'm leaving a really great place in Huntington under the leadership of Nick Smith, and God has opened the door at a really great place like Benton with great leadership as well.
And now, when do you guys face Huntington this upcoming season?
We play them week 3.
Okay.
So we open up with Northwood for non-district, and then we go Airline for that first district game, and then we play them week 3 at Independence Stadium. So it'll be my first time in an opposite color jersey as a visitor in Independence. I've been a visitor in Independence before, but in Huntington colors.
Right.
And so that'll be I think that Friday night will be pretty electric, and as they all are, and it's going to be a good night of football.
Well, I got to give you props. You held the tears in there. We love to get you going there, Coach.
Yeah, y'all like to ask me the hard stuff, so that I start getting all. No, we're really what it is, I tell people all the time, I really do love what I do, and I love the kids. I love coaches made such a huge impact on me in my life, and so if I can have just a small impact somewhere in paying that forward in another young man's life, that's my why,
Right.
with this, and so it's when you ask and go, what was the hardest part? You stir up memories of like having to stand in front of those kids and tell them, guys, I'm not going to be there next year. And then that was tough. That was tough.
Yeah, for sure. And you talk about the impact you make on those kids' lives, and obviously, that's been evident in your body of work. But it also stretches to guys like us. We've had plenty of instances where you've brightened our days, or we have so many stories we talk to each other about. A lot of you guys, but you're one of the big ones. We talk about moments we've had with you all the time. It's a special connection that I think only a coach can really make with people.
Yeah, it's crazy. I talk all the time. We're with other people's kids sometimes when we are our own kids, and so, trying to, get parents to understand that, look, I want to partner with you. I'm going to be with your child, a large part of the day. And so, I want to make sure that, I'm having a positive impact on them. That to me, if I take care of that component and I'm coaching the kid from all angles, the wins are going to be a byproduct of how I coach the child, and at the end of the day, when this is all over and I'm under the ground and not on top of it, no one's going to care about a win-loss column.
Right.
The only thing that's going to matter is, did we as a staff leave it better than we found it. And the humans, the facilities, the program, did we leave it better than we found it? That's the only thing that matters. And that's what we're going to wake up every day and try to do, is leave it a little bit better than we found it the day before.
Now, I'm not sure about the rules between Caddo and Bossier Parish, but you hear most coaches have like teaching duties on the side as well. Did you have to pick up a certain subject in Bossier compared to Caddo Parish?
Yeah, I teach community involvement. So your football classes count as the class, and so I'm coaching 2 sports over in Bossier. So I have football and track, and then I do community involvement in the morning, which is basically where some of our students go to the elementary schools and the middle schools, and they will help teachers in the classroom, or they'll help in the front office, or they'll help in the library. And my job is to just go visit the campus, make sure that they're logging in, they're there doing what they're supposed to do, that they're assisting those teachers and those support staff the way that they need to be. And so in my mornings, it's really awesome. I really enjoy it, because it's allowed me to connect with, this is truly a community school. I mean, a community group of schools, and that Benton Elementary and Kingston and Legacy Elementary, and then it all feeds to the intermediate school, and then it all feeds to the middle school. And so, I've kind of gotten to, drive around and meet the principal at Kingston and Legacy, and, meet the principal at intermediate, and meet some of the kids, and, be involved with that. I've really enjoyed that, teaching that class and being a part of that.
Well, I was a Bossier Parish kid, so I had community involvement out there in Houghton. It really was awesome. It was a great time.
I did too. I worked in the front office of Curtis Elementary. I'm a Parkway boy, and so I had that class and worked at Curtis Elementary.
Well, I'm always going to try to slide a Houghton question into all these interviews, but this is important, I think, at least to some people. Are we still going to do the battle for the wooden hippo with the Buccaneers?
Oh, yes. I mean, no. And look, one of my favorite people in the world is Matthew Sewell.
Yep.
And so I think he does a phenomenal job. He is such a great guy, and he happens to be married. He happens to have a father-in-law that's also one of my favorite humans in the world, Jim Gatlin. So Matthew and I, we're just going to have to, it might have been a Coach Brotherton and Reynolds thing. I love the story. I asked Coach Morris, what's the story of this? And he was telling me, like, I saw it at a yard sale, or Jason saw it at a yard sale or something. And I just think that kind of stuff, that's what high school football is about. Community schools, battling for the wooden hippo. We can't let that go away. It's too cool, like, it's a wooden hippo, man. Yeah. I'm just glad it's at Benton right now. It's going to stay at Benton too.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that, Coach. One guy, obviously, that everyone talks about when it comes to your team is the quarterback, Malachi Ziegler. You see the offers. I'm sure you got coaches coming through all the time. What have you learned about him so far, and how excited are you to have a chance to coach a guy like that?
Man, it's exciting. He is such an awesome kid. Like, just genuinely take all of the football stuff over here and set it to the side. If I was a parent, I would be so proud of the young man that he is. And that's probably the biggest compliment I can give his parents, is that they have done a very good job raising a mature, respectable young man. And then he also happens to be really good at football. And so, I'm incredibly excited, and that, I get to spend 2 years with him,
right.
And so I'm excited, and he loves to work. He loves to compete. When he's in the weight room, he wants to work out with the linemen, and we're power cleaning, and he's got chalk on his shirt, and I'm just over there as like the old school defensive coaches, like watching him, like, oh, my quarterback's got chalk on his shorts and power cleaning. Like, I'm just. It's amping me up every second I'm watching it. And so, he's got an energy that's electric. And so I'm excited to see, what small part we can play in his journey. But his journey is going to be special because he wants to be special.
So how much of your coaching style, your coaching philosophy is transferring from Huntington to Benton? Is this the same style, tough nose come at you, or are we going to kind of maybe spread it out, allow these athletes to kind of work in space? What kind of identity are you building there with the Benton Tigers right now?
Well, I got told a long time ago by one of my college coaches that I respect is you keep the main thing the main thing. And being yourself, that's got to be the main thing. And so to answer that, I brought my offensive coordinator, Jeff Board, along with me over here. He does a phenomenal job. We're really good at being who we are and being tough-nosed downhill. That's who we are. And we're going to be really good at that, and we're going to be really good at getting the ball in our athletes' hands in space. And so we're going to play tough defense, and we're going to play tough on offense. And we're going to make sure that the ball is in the hands of the guys in space that need it. And so I don't know if you call that spread, downhill, whatever you want. I'm going to tell you this. We're going to come at people, and we're going to come at them physically.
And look, he's learned already. He said the word tough like 4 times there. Benton tough. It's right there, baby. So what do you think? Do you look better in purple and gold, or was the old Raider blue still a better color for you personally?
Man, I thought we were going to ask the easy questions today. Listen. Both schools have amazing color schemes. I mean, it's navy blue and silver. I mean, that's Cowboys colors.
Yep.
And then it's purple and gold over here. That's LSU colors. I know, look, at the end of the day, I'm thankful to be at Benton. I'm thankful to put on the purple and gold. I mean, guys, there's a rich history here of football, of guys that came in here, Coach Downey, Coach Guidry, Coach Moore. All of these guys left this program better than they found it. I'm just thankful for our opportunity, to be here and wear the purple and gold and to continue the tradition of Tiger Pride. And so I'll answer that, though, to say this. My oldest son is a massive LSU fan.
There you go.
And so it is a lot easier for him to wear all of his clothes and still be in Benton colors. I have had to replace a large portion of my wardrobe. And so, no, it's every day you come to this school, you get to be around this amazing staff. You get to be around these amazing kids. I'll wear whatever color Benton decides to be. Just lucky enough, it's purple and gold.
So I don't know if this will be an easy question for you, but who and what coaches maybe played the biggest influence on your life? You brought up Jim Gatlin earlier, a guy that we both kind of perked up. Dennis Dunn down there in North DeSoto, your college coach as well. You have some experience with him. Who maybe kind of influenced you the most from a coaching aspect?
That's an easy one, man. If I could build a Mount Rushmore of my mentors, Jim Gatlin would be on it. I would not probably be in coaching. I've told this story a lot. Coach Gatlin was the first person that told me I needed to be a coach. So Coach Gatlin, Coach Dunn, I played for him at LC, coached on his staff at LC. Coach Dunn has always been a great mentor to me. Buck Buchanan was my position coach at Louisiana College. He's now the head coach at Hendrix College up in Conway, Arkansas. I think a lot of who I am as a coach, a lot of the passion of just letting that flow through and being okay being you, that's how Coach Buck coached. And so a lot of that comes from him. Vance Morris, who was there at Louisiana College, who was our director of football operations, coached small college football for 50 years. There's a whole generation of coaches in our state right now. Guys that are head coaches, coordinators, that came through that Louisiana College program, from 2000 to currently. Coach McLaughlin, that's the head coach there now, we were roommates at LC. That's one of my really good friends. And so he's going to do an amazing job there. Got to put Vance Morris on there. And then last but definitely not least, and it's funny because I knew him before I hired him. And then when I hired Coach Abb at Huntington, there was a friendship that sparked that has just turned into, I talk to Ab once a week. I talked to Ab last night. And so that's a guy that just love him to death and just thankful for the mentorship that I get from him.
We got to get Coach Ab on
Coach
the show.
Abs.
Thank you for that reminder. We got to get Coach Ab on
you won't have to try real hard, and it'll be very entertaining.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Coach Ab's one of our favorites. Always very animated, if you will, in some of his responses. And we appreciate your answers as well, Coach. And more of a comment you're about letting your emotions show. I do appreciate that as well, because sometimes we as men, we got to be masculine. No, you gotta let that stuff out. You gotta be able to release it. Kind of the Jim Valvano philosophy. If you laugh and you think and you cry in one day, that's a full day. And you tend to do that a lot during football games.
Yeah, it's one of those things I kind of got, and you learn lessons every day, and I think that I'm thankful for all of the lessons I learned at Huntington, and I learned real quick. I'm really good at being Stephen Dennis. The second I start trying to be somebody else, I'm not going to be genuine, and I think that kids are drawn to genuine. I think kids are drawn to real, and if we're here to impact the lives of kids, to just be genuine and just be real. That's my 2 cents. I don't know what that's worth. I don't know if my 2 cents is worth 2 cents, but, I'm thankful to have a platform to give it. So thank y'all.
No, you've built up plenty of sense. Probably got a couple quarters in there rolling around. A couple gold dollars maybe as well. So.
I just cry when I'm watching Star Wars. So, I mean, that's not anything special there. So at least you're being productive with it. Now, you did mention your sons a couple times, and I know your oldest one had personally my favorite interview I've ever done after that win over Northwood many years ago. How long away, or how far away is he from putting on that headset and joining you on the sidelines?
He'll be in 7th grade next year.
Wow.
He'll be playing football at Benton Middle next year. And so, I told them when I took this job that I'm not going to represent this community and not be a part of it. And so we're in the process of moving up here, and, and he's going to be a Benton Tiger. And so I guess, God bless, man. You just made, like, when I walked in the door at Huntington, they were playing hide and go seek in the lockers, and just realizing he's going to be a 7th grader next year, it's real. In 2 years, he's going to be in high school. And I can't tell, Alex, you've known me. We've done this long enough together. I think there's a possibility he could want to go into coaching.
Yeah.
But I really think I could see him being interested in sports broadcasting.
Okay.
Like, he really genuinely loves tracking scores, having sports data. Like, he really and he's not afraid. Evidently, you saw that, to walk up to a camera and start yelling at the camera. I don't know where he gets that from. I don't know where he's gotten that. He's definitely not seen that, at home or anything like that. So.
Well, look, Coach, whenever y'all have a week off or something, or you play on a Thursday, if you want to bring them up, bring the boys up for Friday football.
He would love that.
Yeah,
he would love that. I would love that. You're, like I said, you mentioned you're with other people's kids so much. There should be, if you want to go into sports broadcasting and your dad's a coach, I mean, those kids should have the inside track,
Oh yeah, we got you. Yeah. So we'll work that out off air. But yeah, whenever y'all play Thursday or something, we'll get you on the show. We'll get him on the show. We'll have y'all up here.
Love that.
So
Yes,
we usually do a lightning round question, kind of get to know you, kind of peel the curtain back a little bit of who you are behind the whistle and everything. So what are you watching? What's your number one go-to streaming? What's the last kind of streaming show that you kind of binged on recently?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, we've been in spring football lately, so haven't streamed anything lately. I like a lot of, that really is that's one of my nothing boxes. And so there's a lot of, the Silo on Apple. I like that.
Okay.
I'm going to try to think something on Netflix.
And look, it could be network TV as well, with the DVR, YouTube TV these days.
I love history, so I like Outlander.
Okay.
Even though that's kind of, that's not as, it takes. I'm trying to catch up on that. I'm trying to think what else, man. I have a wide range of stuff that I like to watch. I love documentaries, and so I'll answer. I'm a huge. I don't know if it's because I'm 40 now, and it's like a standard that you turn 40 and you become a World War II history buff.
Yeah.
Like comedians talk about. But the Pacific,
Okay.
and I love the Pacific, and the I'm blanking on the D-Day one, but I watch it every year. The first one that Tom Hanks did.
Say
You know
Band of
the
Brothers or Saving Private Ryan?
Band of Brothers,
Band of Brothers.
Band of
Band of Brothers. Yeah.
Brothers, and the Pacific. I absolutely. I'll watch that once a year.
Shout out to our director Logan in the booth. He was on that one. He said Band of Brothers immediately
Yeah.
when you started talking. So
Yes.
you got another
Well,
fan.
so Everett, who he's named after my grandfather,
Yeah.
and my grandfather served in the Pacific.
Okay.
He was an engineer or worked in the Army Corps and built the runway that the Japanese emperor landed on, or helped build the runway. He didn't do it by himself,
Right, yeah.
but helped build the runway. He was at the signing of the peace treaty.
Oh wow.
That's unbelievable.
But when the Japanese, I've got pictures. He's with the Lord right now, but I've got pictures of the Japanese emperor getting off the plane.
Wow.
And so I don't know if maybe that's the connection. Just I was very close with him, and so I don't know if that's why it turned me into a World War II person. But like, I'll sit there and watch the Pacific or the Band of Brothers, and I like stuff like that. I like stuff that's history, but also a little bit maybe a fiction mixed in there.
Yeah, that
incredible
that
story.
kind of that speaks to my heart right there. You got the bloodline connection to
Yeah.
it, so I think that had some influence
Yeah.
as well on your life and kind of outlook on World War II. Alex, I don't know if you had any of that.
Yeah,
Right.
we're getting ready for a game or a big moment or something. We got the AirPods in. What's on the playlist? What are we listening to get us fired up?
Oh, I love POD.
All right.
Love them. Huge friend. Look, there's not a human being more excited that Creed is popular again
Let's go.
than me. That was the first concert I ever went to. So huge Creed guy.
Was it the one that
But
was
I
here?
also- yeah, the one that they came to Century Tell us. First concert I ever went to. I was in high school.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Same. I was there.
Yes. Yes.
Yep. It was life.
It was awesome. It
Yep.
was awesome. They're awesome. So it's funny to me to see like all these kids are like, "Hey, have you heard of Creed?" I'm like, "Son, I was there when it started." But I also, I really like Whiskey Myers, Shane Smith and the Saints. Really, to kind of, that's kind of probably be my playlist. Mixture of that.
What's our favorite Creed song? I know there's a lot of choices.
You can't have a favorite if you're a real fan.
Right answer. This is a real.
That's
fan.
like that. I mean, that's like going to an ice cream shop. I mean, like, it's what flavor are you going to eat that day,
Yep.
not
Yeah.
what's your favorite. What flavor are you picking that day?
So how often do you get to control the playlist in the weight room? I know a lot of kids, they like to listen to whatever to get themselves pumped up. Are you coming in there to kind of put your playlist going?
Oh yeah. Early on, it was a lot of double bass blaring, heavy metal. Now, as I've gotten to know the kids, and I tell them, I'm like, look, I got to screen the playlist before we play it, so it's got to be the radio version. But now I'll let the kids. At the end of the day, once they kind of know, what, I don't have to get fired up by the playlist. The kids have to get fired up by the playlist. So as long as it's radio edited and it's good to go, and I proof it and things like that, then I kind of let them take care of that.
Now, you are a Bossier Parish guy, so you've probably seen this before. I'm sure Parkway was similar to Houghton, but were you a little amazed when you first show up, first day of school at Benton, at the amount of big lifted trucks in the student parking lot?
Yes, there's a lot of trucks and very nice vehicles.
Oh, yeah.
No, it was the same way at Parkway. I mean, everybody. It's look. If you got it, you got it. So they're great kids, man, and the trucks get higher and higher the older I get. So I don't know if I'm getting shorter or the trucks are getting higher, but no, it's pretty cool to see.
It might be a combination of both.
Yeah.
I've kind of noticed the stretch and all that getting higher.
For sure.
Kind of another peel the onion back question. Your go-to meal, or a meal that if this was the last meal I'm eating, I gotta have this on my plate or in my bowl, whatever.
Taco Bell all day.
There
every
we
day.
go. Let's go, Coach.
Taco Bell, Baja Blast. I love their Cantina chicken menu. So right now, that's what I'm currently on.
Yeah.
But I love a soft taco supreme from there.
Heck
but
yeah.
I would eat if my cholesterol didn't matter, my heart health didn't matter, I would eat Taco Bell all day, every day, for the rest of my life.
Well, we know what to get a post-celebratory meal for Coach when he comes in
Yep.
with his son. We got some Taco Bell.
We'll have a T-Bell spread waiting on you, Coach.
Now they Everett and them are not. They're more cheesy roll-ups when we go there.
That's
But
fair.
I'm like, hey, where do y'all want to go eat? And they're like, oh, we don't care. And I'm like, guys, you better speak up, or I'm telling you where this car is going. It's going to TB. That's where it's going.
Go to TV. That's awesome. Shout out to the soft taco supreme. That's like
Now,
the go-tos.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to bleep all this out because Southern Classic Chicken. No, I'm kidding.
No.
But
Listen, there's a reason there's always a line.
That's right.
So there's always a line there. So you can't go wrong there either.
Shout out to Southern Classic Chicken always.
Amen. Gotta love those guys. Well, look, I mean, Coach,
We
I could
could
talk
do
to
this
you
for another
I
2-3
could talk
hours,
to you for
honestly.
another
This
2
has been
hours.
awesome.
But look, we're coming up on 40 minutes now, so I think we should go ahead and wrap it up. But look, you got to promise
I've got
me.
guys coming in for practice, so I'm going to go be a coach again. So, guys, thank y'all for having me.
Yes.
Thank y'all for an opportunity for me to, just talk about Benton and how awesome it is. And guys, I really do, from the bottom of my heart, thank y'all for everything that you do for high school athletics. Just the light you shine on these kids. I'm telling y'all, it matters to them. To have those small moments where they can look back, 15, 20 years from now and go, look, I was on TV catching this touchdown. And so, guys, if y'all don't do what you do, they don't get those moments. So thank y'all.
Well, thank you for everything. We love you, Coach. Promise me you'll come back on here when we get closer to the season.
Dude, anytime y'all need. I'm fixing to go yell at everybody getting full pads right now. So we're fixing to go hit.
Let's get it done,
Love to
Coach.
hear it, Coach.
Thanks so
Awesome.
much.